Retire Plugged In newsletter number 19 on the real truth about retirement. Trump accounts aren't what you think. Trump accounts could be a part of your estate plan, but there are things that the headlines didn't tell you. Within hours of the announcement, millions of people had already formed an opinion about Trump accounts, most without ever learning what they actually are. Today, misinformation spreads much faster than understanding. Before deciding whether these accounts are a good idea, a bad idea, or something in between, let's separate the facts from the headlines. My goal today isn't to convince you to open a Trump account. My goal is to make sure your decision is based on facts instead of headlines. Most of you reading this newsletter have grown children and grandchildren. You want to plan for your grandchildren, thinking about putting them in your will or trust. We all know those precious grandchildren are the best, so much more fun and better than our children ever were. We also know we're at a stage in our lives that we can afford to spoil them. Even when the parents say, "Stop, no more toys, don't feed them candy when I'm not around." Ah, well, we do enjoy spoiling them to our children's dismay. But now you have an opportunity to spoil them that their parents will appreciate. Yes, retirement planning can now begin in the delivery room. And the government will give your new grandchild $1,000 seed money to start their retirement account if they're born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. However, in the scheme of things, the $1,000 isn't the most important reason. But stop. Misinformation abounds. Misinformation number one: I can open an account for my grandchild. Did you know that as a grandparent, you probably can't open a Trump account for your grandchild? I've heard on financial news that you should go open an account for your grandchild. Really? Did they read the rules? Here's where the complications begin and the rampant misinformation I see. Yes, you can contribute to the new Trump account for your grandchildren. However, be aware you may not be eligible to open it. What? I heard legal guardians, parents, adult siblings, and grandparents can open the account. True, but there's an IRS priority order, which means more than it might appear to you. Accounts must be opened by a single authorized adult following that order. The person opening the account for the child must be the legal guardian and claim them on their taxes. The election is made under penalty of perjury, which means if a grandparent files first and a parent has higher priority, you could be in legal trouble. Do I think they'll really throw grandma in jail? No, but I wouldn't want to be in that position. Now, if your grown child files for the account and claims the $1,000, that's great. Be aware, though, they become the monitor or authorized person on the account. Translation: makes all the decisions. If you're going to do most of the contributing, doesn't that give you some say-so? No. Be aware that the parent is now the legal monitor or authorized individual on the account, the person who makes all the investment decisions and gets in trouble with the IRS if something is not done correctly. Misinformation number two: Trump accounts are not set it and forget it. Someone has to keep accurate records for nearly 2 decades. There are complicated rules that must be followed. Limits on the amounts different contributors can make, a max contribution amount for each year, which will be indexed for inflation after 2027, and the taxability of each contribution can vary. Records must be kept on that account for what amount is taxable and what is not. If your grown child, the parent, doesn't take responsibility for monitoring the account and maintaining ongoing records properly, penalties will apply to your grandchildren's money that you contributed. Question: When was the last time your grown child thought you knew more than they did about investing or handling the grandchildren? In other words, this should be a coordinated effort. Don't go off to start one and surprise your child thinking it will be a good gift. First, you get their parents to open an account, which we'll explain next time. But this is where the rubber meets the road. Is your grown child willing and capable of keeping detailed records for 18 years? There's more to it than watching the money grow. Pro tip, before opening the account, make sure the designated adult is prepared to coordinate contributions, maintain records, and monitor important deadlines. Let's go to misinformation number 3. It's a great way to teach your child about stocks. The talking heads are acting so excited. You can teach your child or your grandchild about investing. Have them buy stocks at what they know, like Walt Disney, and watch them grow. Again, do these talking heads ever read the real rules? The investments are limited to a selection of low-cost exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, that track the performance of the S&P 500 index. The default investment for new accounts is the Portfolio S&P 500 ETF, or SPYM. The claims you see on TV and hear on the radio, suggestion that you can choose your own investments, are simply wrong. The only other available investments chosen by the Treasury, not you, are iShares Core and S&P 500, Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, State Street Spider Portfolio S&P 1500, the iShares Core S&P Total U.S. Stock Market ETF. Remember, this is the government in your life. You can currently only open an account with Robinhood, though you have the option to roll over. Rules are strict. We'll give you the option next week to attend a workshop that will give you all the nitty-gritty details. But for now, let's go on to misinformation number 4. This is not for you if your grandchild has a 529. I hope you do have a 529 for those grandchildren. That's for education only. What happens if that child does not go to college? I'll tell you. One of my clients diligently put away money for their son's education, had it fully funded, and he decided college was not for him. His only goal was to be a mixologist, a bartender. What happens to the money? Oh, it becomes taxable, just like the Trump account. But can it be converted to a Roth? Again, misinformation abounds. Yes, it can be converted a little each year, but that prevents the working child from contributing to an IRA. Why not create an account that convert to an IRA, and if they want to a Roth, which has exemptions from penalties for education, buying a home, helping them get started in life another way. Then let's look at misinformation number 5. This account is no good because it's an IRA, making it all taxable. Wrong again. All your contributions are after tax. You already paid the tax. Only a portion of the account will be taxable. This is where the monitoring and reporting come in. Very important. Misinformation number 6. I don't have any grandchild born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028, so they're not eligible. True, the $1,000 is only for U.S. citizen children born between January 1st, 25 and December 31st, 28. This is seed money. It does not create tax basis in the account, which affects how future distributions are taxed. Because it doesn't create tax basis, it and any earnings are taxable upon distribution. Remember, your contributions are tax basis and are not taxed. The children born between these dates are the only ones eligible to receive the seed money, but they're not the only children eligible for an account. Any child with a valid Social Security number may have a Trump account established for them before the calendar year they'll turn 18. Even if they won't turn 18 until December 31st, they become ineligible after December 31st of the prior year. Again, we're looking at misinformation. Many people saw the dates for the $1,000 seed money and thought there were no options or benefits for their older grandchildren. In the scheme of things, that $1,000 is not the most important reason to establish an account. That should be one small part of their account. If they're eligible for the $1,000, you'd be crazy not to take free money. But if they're not, did you know they might be eligible for a free $250 contribution? I'll cover that next week. Now, misinformation number 7. An UGMA or UTMA would be better because I can invest it and direct it myself. Well, maybe. Sure, there are no withdrawal restrictions before age 18 like the Trump account, as long as it benefits the child. But what's the goal? If your goal is to get your grandchild on the road to retirement, remember, the earnings are taxed annually to the child in an UGMA. It's not tax deferred and can't be converted to a Roth IRA like the Trump account. Also, the child owns the account at 18 with no penalties for withdrawing the funds, unlike a Trump account. The Trump account follows IRA rules, making exceptions to penalties for a good reason, like buying a house or paying for education. Okay, guys and gals, I've said enough for now, and we haven't even covered the nitty-gritty rules. I just had to address all the misinformation I keep seeing. So next week, we'll go over the tax rules nobody's talking about. I'll provide the nitty-gritty about Trump accounts, but what questions do you have? Comment, DM, email. I'll be sure to address them. If you want unbiased retirement information that answers your questions when you ask and anticipates what you need to ask because you don't know what you don't know, get notified when our membership site Retire Plugged In goes live by clicking joinretirepluggedin.com. See you next week.